One of the most fundamental truths of the Christian life can be found in the gospel we just heard. But it is a lesson we often miss because we're not looking at the right place. In the gospel we just heard, it's difficult to keep our eyes off the Magi. They are foreign and mysterious. They come from the east in their exotic robes and their peculiar camels, following a star, of all things. But when we focus on the Magi, the theme of our gospel is about searching, about finding, about the giving of gifts. These themes, however, are not the deepest truths of today's solemnity. To find that truth, we need not look at what the Magi do, but what Jesus does. And what does Jesus do? He receives the gifts that the Magi offer. This action is arguably the first action of Jesus ever recorded in the Gospels, to accept the gifts that are given. It is an action of profound significance because it is an illustration of what is most fundamental about the Christian life. It tells us that being a Christian is not about what we do, but about what we receive. It's not about giving, but it's about accepting. Now, this is a difficult lesson for us to learn because we often persist in this misconception that our faith is primarily about us, about what we do or what we fail to do. But our faith is not primarily about what we do, but rather about what God does. God has made us, and God has saved us. God's actions are the actions that are at the heart of the Scriptures. So the stance of a Christian is primarily a stance of openness, a posture of receptivity. It's only when we can receive the gift that God offers that we really can know what salvation is all about. So what is it that we're called to receive? The three gifts help us here: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gifts of value, gifts of mystery, and the gift of pain. The first gift is the gift of gold, a gift of great value or worth, and it points to the value and our worth of our own lives. We are persons of great worth. God had made us so. God has instilled us with a dignity that is a part of who we are. That dignity is nothing that we can earn and nothing that we can lose by failure or sin. We are called then to believe in our worth and dignity even when we doubt ourselves or even when we mess things up. The value and worth of our being is the first gift that God gives us, and we must be willing to receive it if we're to be followers of Christ. The gift of frankincense is this mysterious perfume, and it points to the mysterious action of God in our lives. God has a plan. God has a plan for us and for the world. God is always working to unfold that plan through all the relationships and opportunities of our lives. And our life is much more than the decisions we make or the plans that we form. Beneath our actions and our decisions is the mysterious impulse of God, blessing us, changing us, leading us forward. It's a mystery we cannot control. We can only accept it and cooperate with it. That mysterious presence of God's loving action in our life is another gift that God gives us, and we must be willing to receive it if we are to understand the gospel. Finally, myrrh is the ointment of death, and it points to the unavoidable pain, which is a part of all of our lives. None of us can avoid evil or pain, whether it comes from hurt, rejection, failure, sickness, or grief. But in faith, we believe that such pain, as real and as deep as it is, cannot negate our dignity and worth as people. Nor can it frustrate or derail the mysterious plan of God that somehow moves forward despite all that opposes it. Pain in our life is unavoidable. It's a fact. But that reality of pain need not destroy us. Believing that God's plan will succeed, even in the presence of pain, is the last gift that God offers us on today's feast. We must be willing to receive it if we were to understand the gospel. Being a faithful Christian is not about doing. It's about receiving. This is why the first action of Jesus in the Gospels is to receive the gifts of the Magi. Jesus receives gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and this reminds us that we need to receive the value of our own person, the mystery of God's action in our lives, and the reality of pain and evil that cannot stop the plan of God. Those are 3 gifts we need to receive. For it is only by accepting them that we can follow Christ and fulfill that promise of Christmas. May you have a blessed and happy new year.